sonam je dola benje sanje dola sanje je wan so je zonam chanjo bardo dane jab sonje ndage jin sonje be sonam dola benje sanje do parasho. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Sangha, and the many createdness, and attain the state of Buddhahood. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the many creating this practice, and attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now until enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and by creating this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Shantideva has said this by relying upon this shape of human body. Anyone can, go across the ocean of cyclic existence, the suffering of cyclic existence. So at this moment, one should wake up from this kind of ignorance. And what he mentioned in this is that, as you know, this precious human rebirth with 10 endowment and 8 leisures is the one through which one can attain higher rebirth, liberation, ultimate enlightenment. And this kind of precious human rebirth is not easy to attain. So while we are having this, this precious human rebirth, we need to be using it in a very meaningful way, spending days for contemplation, studying, meditation, and not simply kind of engaging in accomplishing limited objective of this lifetime, but rather kind of awakening from that limited narrow-mindedness and try to engage in attaining objective of long kind of time, future-oriented, and so therefore engaging in the three trainings and not letting ourselves kind of overpowered by this very limited kind of ignorance. Engaging in three trainings, the trainings of morality, trainings of meditation or concentration, and then trainings of wisdom, or engaging in three baskets of teachings, three baskets of teachings, sutra, vinaya, or discipline, and then high trainings. And engaging through kind of three processes of practice, listening or studying, and then contemplation, and then finally meditation. And all of these three processes must kind of using, simultaneously whatever you have learned, studied, or one should be contemplating those. And whatever you have contemplated, you should be meditating on those. So all of these three should be kind of happening, or doing at the same moment, not kind of just one or separating these three. And within the meditation, among most kind of two common type, analytical and single pointedness, analytical is much more kind of important. And practitioners who has been more engaged in the analytical meditation from their very kind of early age, that analytical understanding is much more kind of powerful, meaningful, and it sustains kind of the practice of meditation for much longer time. On the other hand, somebody who is engaged more in single-pointed meditation or meditation of placement, there could be sometimes a negative impact of not having a clarity of memory, and as His Holiness mentions. And usually when you engage in meditation, object of observation or what you are trying to meditate upon, in a subjective as well as objective, both should be gaining clarity. It should be gaining clarity, more kind of stability. But if one is having a negative effect, then the meditation is not going as it should be. So therefore, analytical meditation is very kind of important and helpful. From the three training we mentioned before, for example, a Vinaya practice or discipline, although it seems to be that it is something that is required only for a monastic, fully ordained monks and nuns, but that is not the case. There are many discipline practice that can be practiced by lay people. And this word, Vinaya or Dulwa in Tibetan, literally has a meaning of calming down. And calming down, in kind of in two ways. The first one is calming down of the behavior or training of the behavior, and second one is training or calming down of the afflicted mind. So calming down or training of the physical or behavior is something that is needed for even for lay people. So for lay people, we find such as vows or commitment that can maintain for 24 hours. Individual liberation vows, and there are many vows and commitments that lay people can practice and therefore benefit from these teachings. Afflicted emotions or defilements, the lesser afflictions or disturbing emotions one has, it can have impact of lesser physical kind of negative behaviors, and therefore through that kind of lesser physical negative behavior or practice, there will be a less suffering. So it is also important to kind of challenge afflicted emotions or defilements. When we talk about engaging in, even for lay people, the practice of discipline or vinaya, such as maintaining vows for 24 hours or individual liberation vows, of course, here we need to be, thinking about why is this kind of vows or commitment needed for lay people. And so, one must have kind of understanding of the purpose of, keeping vows or commitments, such as abstaining from 10 negative activities. When abstaining from 10 negative activities, what are the benefits, advantages that you are getting from those practices, such as in terms of, physical or mental? And the reason here is that if we want to, as we all want to have, happiness, a good thing, good experience, a feeling, in order to have that kind of experiences, that kind of result, we need to be planting the seed of those results. Once you plant the seed, then you will have a result of these, sensation or feelings. Otherwise, simply kind of making prayers and making a hope and wishes, we won't be able to attain the result, because we are not planting any seeds that kind of yields to this kind of result. Same thing with the negative suffering, a problem. It's not enough merely kind of having a wishes and desires and making prayers. We need to be practical about that. If we don't want suffering, a problem, we shouldn't be planting the seed of those suffering and problem. therefore making kind of deliberate, effort, and in such a way that we are abstaining from, planting the seed of suffering that we so don't want. And under this comes, such as, the distorted, mistaken view of self-grasping, grasping, truth grasping or self-grasping. This, distorted view of truth grasping or self-grasping leads to generation of three, kind of so-called poisons: hatred, attachment, desire. And those three leads to further kind of all kinds of afflicted emotions and suffering, as very clearly mentioned by Nagarjuna. And for example, related to this kind of one distorted view, it is important to kind of engage in further kind of examination. We talk about when we have this distorted view of I or self being kind of independently existing, self-sufficient, not relying upon faith, factors and conditions. That kind of view, that kind of perception that we have is distorted. And if that is the case, then we need to go further and investigate where is that I, located. Is it located on physical aggregates, or is it in our kind of mind or consciousness? And so the more you become aware, or the more you become sort of knowledgeable about the nature of I and self and this me, then that will have a kind of that will lead to kind of decrease the level of grasping to self, because it doesn't exist the way we think, way we perceive. And when there is a less intensity of self-grasping, there will be a less intensity of manifested afflictions or disturbing emotions. And with that, one can have a less suffering. Therefore, Akshaya is saying that although he's not saying this out of his experience, but the teachings, of His Holiness and his two teachers, which we all consider as a very valid teachings based on experiences. So, therefore, relying upon these teachings are something that is very beneficial for us.
견난도 또 그거 양양도 삼당 또 삼당 간지 말하면 또 난스 집에 취탐제 유로 그랑으로 주변에 지금 가서 남주아 되나지 이거 말 어떻게 되니까 삼당 집에 있나 또서 마딘질라 된된 물자가 마서는 땅도 좋아 손도아 이인들라 에 양양도 뭔가지 양양도 삼당 양양도 삼당 거래 이 기분 내지 뭐래 보다 대인들라 간지 된디지 삼당 맞추기 있나 맞으디 제기다 로종 시야데 노야 거래야 거래 가르치니 와요 로종 시야데 간지 로 장상들라 예 시바 지 시벤도 사지 시고 니바 니베 시바들라 니베 장초 nencho ni yubenani nembi chode kado nenbi juju enis zambe chode makevale gile kiwache mon sunjini te kiwade enibe nyamba me basun kaso tuk oda dijene eni dusjene eni lojong dugo kanje danzi mari pala nasaki machu pato ta hawo shivule dindila ranjinjin ranjinsiya rinjinsiya kizi tape chung etu tayar tondal maso lojong nyamne chipnuare di chebena ni zampo zene tegen changere ni nambade ranjinjin da ranjin da rinjin da teso azu shu chubuyode ni namba enibe susu chibu maso samtang midugen changare 젠진진 제게 미지 같이 있나다 니 장로 전주나 다 덴디지를 중이나 데니 대원 로알 심지시 길이규 세다와다 전주나 소나지네 니 지니 답에 대원 로야게 람나다 마산 진디오래 같이 디 로종세도 또 제네 같이 삼루 로다 시비토니 삼루 인초됐다 zancho de agizange tablam jisun var is
try to analyze and examine the nature of I or self or me. As mentioned before, we try to locate this self or I-ness on aggregate. And when we do that, logically there are many contradictions that we face, such as if you look at 5 aggregates and then say that the aggregates are I or self, then one contradiction is that there are 5 aggregates, and does that mean that there are 5 I or 5 me? However, that is not the case. And if you look from the other side, there's only one I, and does that mean that there's also only one aggregate? And that is also not the case. So there are logically many kind of contradictions that arises. When we look at the different school of thoughts, philosophical thoughts, schools lower than middle way autonomy school, they came up with this interpretation of I, as they says that I is equal to sort of consciousness, or I is equal to consciousness or mind. And if that is the case, also there are many philosophical kind of contradictions and problems, fallacies, because when we look at consciousness could be sometimes of the nature of manifested level. Sometimes it becomes subtle, gross. It could becomes there's a fluctuations in the nature of subtlety of consciousness. And so are you going to say that that is happening same with the I? So it is little kind of sort of uneasy to conclude that way, as His Holiness says. And consciousness can be subtle, such as at the time of death and dying. and it remain as a mental imprints, to kind of sort of go into the future. So, are you going to say that is that the I that is, becoming latencies, that is becoming subtle? How that also has a kind of really uncomfortable kind of logical interpretation. So, in Brave, the conclusion by High School of Thought, that is Middle Way Consequence School, Middle Way Prasangika School, they says that in Brave, I or self, and they actually kind of extend this to all other phenomena such as karma, cause and effect, three object of refuge. They are merely a designation. They are merely a labeling that is given upon. So this kind of a conclusion, a big conclusion by this high school of thought, that every phenomena that appears to us that is in existence are merely the mode of existence is they are merely designated, imputed by our thoughts and words. They lack inherent existence, independent existence, objective existence. So the point of doing all of this investigation or examination is how can we reduce this intensity of self-grasping. And of course this understanding can happen only through kind of a regular, constant kind of contemplation, thinking. And without having this kind of some understanding of what we said here, it is almost kind of impossible to have the practice of what we are studying for this class, mind training. And when we talk about mind training, what is sort of minimum requirement for this study is have a general kind of understanding of what might be or what is the consciousness or mind, and then kind of two main kind of component. The first part is how can we improve and develop this mind or consciousness. Under that we talk about generating or producing or making good thought if you don't have at all. And if you already generated or produced some, then preserving it, maintaining it. And then third part is not only preservation and maintenance, but further kind of development. This all comes under related with good thoughts or good attitude or good mind. And then on the other hand, understanding little or maybe some understanding about negative thoughts, how can we reduce, if possible, eliminate. These two kind of comes under what we mean by mind training, and mind training is basically a method or technique to accomplish these two kind of objectives. And unless or until we kind of give some movement, some changes to this self-grasping thought, or from that extension of that, or arises a result of that self-cherishing thought. If you don't make some kind of movement, changes of this fundamental distorted thought, they won't be mind training at all. So the point here is that the practice of mind training is to make us a better human being with better thought, better mind or consciousness, and reduce and the negative thought. Therefore, kind of reduce or eliminate becoming a negative person or bad person, basically. So with that practice of thought practice or mind training comes or becomes what we commonly consider as a good person or nice person and bad person. And through mind training, this is something that can be definitely attainable. as we find, mentioned in Shantideva's text about once a practitioner kind of realizes or experience, this good kind of sensation or feeling or development, how can he kind of become lazy, moving from one stages of goodness to another stages of goodness? How can in that stages one become lazy, one become kind of without interest? And that kind of sensation or feeling, or that's the beginning of the stages, entering the stages. So in the text we are on the section of commitments of mind training. If you have the same textbook, it's on page 91. It's the last paragraph or the middle of the text. The irreversible commitments of mind training. This has two parts: the explanation of what appears in the text in words and what appears in the text as maxims. Explanation of what appears in the text in words. The text says, "Always train in the three general points." So this is the the root text. Three general points. These are as follows: mind training that is not contrary to the commitments, which is not lead astray, and which is impartial. And as you see 3 points here, the more explanation will come immediately after this. And basically, another way of saying here is, engaging in the kind of correct, path, and disengaging or abstaining from engaging in the negative, mind training or practice. And here it talks about the importance of the requirement of awareness, constant awareness, as we mentioned earlier, the example of Geshe Ben, kind of marking his thought at the end of every day, with the white chalk for white thought and black chalk for the black thought, and the importance of remembrance and introspection constantly for one's action and thought. So that's important here, and this kind of awareness is needed even for very kind of simple tasks like taking a meal. When we are eating, we need to some extent some sort of attention that is being paid. Otherwise, it won't happen the way you want it to be. You might pour on your clothes or so. And of course, when talk about serious issues, sort of mind training, attention is very much needed, awareness, and constantly, therefore, here talking about, making sure that mind training and the technique, the implementation becomes what it is supposed to be and not other way around. So under that comes kind of 3 points. The first one is, as mentioned here, not doing something which is not kind of opposite to what you have committed. And the second is doing, kind of remaining until what you are supposed to be, not kind of it says led astray or going away from your topic or your commitment. And then third is it should be complete, absolute, not something kind of impartial. Firstly, that is not contrary to the commitments. We should never act in contradiction to the practices common to all vehicles, as saying, quote, "There is no harm in this because I'm training the mind," unquote. When we break some minor commitment, claiming that nothing else is required of the follower of mind training. On the contrary, we should train in practicing the Buddha's teaching in its entirety, from the instruction on the basic logic up to the Guhya Samaj Tantra. So one shouldn't be kind of, sort of bragging, saying that I'm a practitioner of mind training and therefore looking down upon the practice of lesser vehicle or Hinayana and kind of criticizing them and belittling them and kind of giving yourself excuses from transgressing minor kind of fallacies or negative acts. These are not kind of sort of permitted, and in fact what one should be doing is on the contrary, it says one should be when you engage in mind training, under your training everything in its entirety of Buddhist teachings is included from the very beginning, or the sort of lowest, as mentioned here, the Buddhist logic, from the very beginning of the lesser vehicle, and then of course higher vehicle, practice of altruism, the highest Vajrayana practices, all of these are included. And therefore, when engaged in this practice of mind training, one should be abstaining from even kind of smallest, a negative act, and one shouldn't be kind of, as mentioned before, boasting or bragging of being, practitioners of mind training, and therefore, this practice not kind of contrary to the commitments. The teachings on Four Noble Truths, we find in the teachings of Theravada system or lesser vehicle, and which is primarily shown in the or taught in the language of Pali, and of course, as mentioned in this section, the importance of teachings in its entirety, beginning from the lesser vehicle. So understanding of Four Noble Truths is inevitable here. without understanding or identifying a suffering, one won't have interest in kind of interest in learning the cause of suffering. When you don't want, when you don't understand the cause of suffering, that doesn't lead to a desire of not wanting to kind of have a suffering, and therefore doesn't lead to path. And without path, there is no cessation. So, and in fact, His Holiness talks about Four Noble Truth as a foundation of entire Buddhist teachings. And many of the teachings of lesser vehicles were taught in Pali languages, and many of the teachings of higher vehicles were taught or given in the Sanskrit language, higher vehicle, and many Vajrayana teachings. And the causal kind of teachings of perfection of transcendental sutra or vehicle, and then resultant teachings of Vajrayana. Those were taught in the Sanskrit language, and especially elimination of subtle obscurations, cognitive obscurations, won't happen without relying upon this practice of Vajrayana. So the point here is that somebody engaged in mind training must abstain or abandon even kind of the smallest of the smallest afflictions or destructive emotions.
What's that? 로정 터져서 맞은 거 같은데 다 니바 다들 니바 로정의 민다 유전도 지니 산인 고 신인죄 주인 고네기 강외 살 제메tunro 담념 살와 게케 소탄 다제 투법군도 화진 조침보 라지 하지니 탐지 김도 동화파 야세기 발 그유 야세기 발 그유 넘버 답이 지송 당와라 라버자오 세와다 예수야데 가르네 먼저 로정와 시우지 똑바 연전도지 엔디치기야 말이네 알잖아 아니 상인 주세대 네베 가시기 딱 가지 살아 아니 지다 도치 루라서 봤다 다 미다되는 얘기야 아직 때도란 셈바메 버지네 베 사다시 지미 출라서 메라던 때니 아마부지 지요 어떻게 좀 셈바메 두스체네 베 로정에도 공과연도 때니 지기야 말이스 어떤 가서 그게 빼다도와 똑발라다면 군주미다 두고서 아직 로정냐는 제기 있나 대략 선지진 두와 저거로 마도 밀라니 베 띵기여서 진짜네 이네 베 똑같은도 하고 있지 근데 지금 말해서 왔다 디스고 로정 틀어져서 맞아 왔다 베 지파 대야점 근데 지금 말해 왔다 가서 툭툭 로정 제들이 신장 문장 땅 누군가나 로정체를 따뜻 기니 온 거야. 시긴 잡고 주고 와. 어떻게 있습니까?
Secondly, the second is which is not led astray. Secondly, we should avoid digging harmful earth, felling sinister trees, stirring noxious waters, visiting those afflicted by contagious diseases without precaution, or associating by view or behavior with those who are morally corrupt or possessed by spirits. We should follow the pure and unbroken tradition descending from the great Atisha, the sole divine Lord, to the all-knowing Tsongkhapa and his disciples. Here the point is, when you are practicing mind training, one shouldn't be kind of pretending to be like, as often does, pretending to be like, somebody with a great realization, therefore recklessly kind of engaging in these kind of activities as mentioned here, digging, harmful earth or felling trees, or because they are, as you have heard, often beings or spirits that are that resides on the dirt or earth or water or trees, and one should have kind of a sort of respect or not harming these. And the point of engaging in the mind training is that it should have an impact of becoming a practitioner much more kind of kind-hearted, much more smooth thought, much more kind of more kind of empathy. So if one is engaged in the opposite, then practitioner is not kind of sort of leading astray or not following the commitments of mind training. So we'll take a break here.